Your bones are weaker than your great-great-grandmother's. Not metaphorically, literally. Scientists can look at a skeleton and tell, just from the density of the bone, whether that person walked 12 miles a day or sat in a car. And when researchers lined up your skeleton next to one from 10,000 years ago, yours lost. That's not an insult. It's a measurement. In 2014, a team led by researchers Timothy Ryan and Colin Shaw scanned the joints of ancient human skeletons and compared them to ours. They were looking at something called trabecular bone. Think of it as the spongy lattice inside the ends of your bones, the part that thickens when you move and quietly thins when you don't. Ancient hunter-gatherer joints were dense, almost chimpanzee dense. Modern human joints were not. The difference showed up around 12,000 years ago. That's the exact moment we started farming. So what changed? You did. Or rather, your species did. We traded movement for convenience, and convenience for comfort, and comfort for a body that quietly degrades from the inside while looking fine on the outside. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Most people assume ancient life was nasty, brutish, and short. Dangerous animals. Starvation. No medicine. And yes, infant mortality was high, and a bad infection could kill you. But here's what almost nobody tells you. If a hunter-gatherer survived childhood, their day-to-day health, especially the chronic stuff, the stuff that kills us slowly, was often better than yours. Better than yours. Right now, reading this, let's stack the evidence. Start with movement. Harvard evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman has spent decades studying the human body as a machine built for motion. His research keeps landing on the same idea. Your joints, your heart, your metabolism, all of it evolved expecting daily, varied, low-grade physical effort. Not a 30-minute gym session followed by 8 hours in a chair. Constant, broken-up motion. Walking to find food. Squatting to dig roots. Carrying a child on your hip for 3 miles. Lieberman calls modern humans the most sedentary species in our evolutionary history, and the data backs him up. We didn't evolve to be still. We evolved to almost never stop. Now layer in metabolism. Anthropologist Herman Pontzer spent years living among the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer community in Tanzania, measuring exactly how many calories they burned in a day. His findings stunned the nutrition world. The Hadza, despite walking far more than the average Westerner, burned roughly the same total calories per day as people in the United States and Europe. Same energy expenditure. Wildly different body composition. Almost no obesity. Almost no type 2 diabetes. Almost no heart disease. How is that possible? Pontzer's theory is called constrained energy expenditure. Your body, it turns out, is smarter and stingier than you think. When you move more, your body quietly dials down energy spent elsewhere. Inflammation, stress hormones, reproductive cycles, to keep total output stable. The Hadza weren't burning more calories. They were burning them differently. Their daily movement was reshaping how their bodies allocated energy, away from chronic inflammation and toward repair. Now add the gut. Researcher Jeff Leach co-founded a study called the Hadza Microbiome Project, sequencing the gut bacteria of the same Hadza community. The diversity was staggering. Far more bacterial species than the average American gut, which has been narrowed by processed food, antibiotics, and a diet built around a tiny handful of crops. A diverse gut microbiome has been linked to better immune function, lower inflammation, and even mood regulation. Ancient humans, eating dozens of wild plants and animals across the seasons, were essentially feeding an internal ecosystem we're now starving. 3 pillars: movement, metabolism, microbiome, all pointing the same direction. Now let's reconstruct a scene. It's early morning, somewhere in what is now East Africa 20,000 years ago. You wake up because the light changed. There's no rush. Your body already knows the plan because your body and the day are the same rhythm. You walk, not for exercise, for breakfast. Tubers near the riverbank. Maybe a beehive someone spotted yesterday. Your knees bend, your spine loads, your shoulders carry. By midday you've covered 5 or 6 miles without once thinking of it as a workout. You eat what the land gave you that week, not what a factory decided to ship you that week. Fiber-heavy roots. Seasonal fruit, intensely sour by modern standards because no one has bred the bitterness out of it yet. Occasionally meat, fatty and prized, shared among the group because hoarding made no evolutionary sense when everyone's survival was linked. At night, there's no blue light pulling your eyes open past dark. The campfire flickers, conversation winds down, and your body, exhausted in the honest way, the way that earns deep sleep instead of begging for it, simply shuts off. This is not paradise. There were parasites. There were injuries with no antibiotics. There was real danger. But the body living that life was, by almost every chronic disease marker we can measure in bone and tissue, less inflamed, less metabolically broken, and more densely built than the body reading this sentence right now. Here's the twist. The one that flips the whole story. You'd assume agriculture, when it arrived, made life better. More food, more stability, surely healthier. The opposite happened, and we have the skeletons to prove it. At Catalhoyuk, a 9,000-year-old farming settlement in what is now Turkey, archaeologists found something disturbing. Compared to the hunter-gatherers who came before them, these early farmers had shorter stature, more dental disease from grain-heavy diets, more infections from crowded living, and weaker bones. Farming gave humanity more calories. It did not give humanity better health. We didn't get healthier when we settled down. We got more numerous and more sick, and we called that progress because it let us build everything else. So if movement was medicine, and we've spent 10,000 years slowly engineering it out of daily life, where does that leave you? Here's the mirror. Your commute replaced the walk to forage. Your grocery store replaced foraging itself, collapsing 100 wild plants into a dozen domesticated ones. Available year-round, nutritionally flattened. Your chair replaced the squat, the climb, the carry. Your antibiotics, life-saving as they are, also quietly thinned the same gut diversity the Hadza still carry in abundance. None of this makes you weak or broken. It makes you a hunter-gatherer's body, dropped into an environment that body never evolved to expect. How to fix this? You don't need to live in a hut. You need to understand what your biology is actually asking for. Lieberman's research suggests the fix isn't a single intense workout. It's near-constant, low-grade motion threaded through your entire day. Standing instead of sitting. Walking meetings. Taking the stairs without thinking of it as a decision. Poncer's data suggests it's not about burning more calories through punishing cardio. It's about moving consistently enough that your body redirects energy away from inflammation on its own. And Leach's microbiome work suggests something almost embarrassingly simple. Eat more plant variety. Not more plants. More kinds of plants. Your gut bacteria, like you, crave diversity, not volume. None of this requires becoming a hunter-gatherer. It requires remembering that you still are one, biologically, whether your life looks like it or not. So no, your bones are not weaker than your ancestors because something is wrong with you. They're weaker because the world stopped asking your body to do the one thing it was built for. And that's the real reframe. You were never less capable than the people who came before you. You were just born into the first environment in human history engineered to need nothing from your body at all.